But yeah, it's just mainly I want to get to know you. Like that's how I learn from people is just talking to
Right.
them, and then people maybe will pick that up.
Yeah,
So
I'm here for it, man.
awesome. So you're saying something in the email like you're interested in finding something like that's similar to this, where it's a podcast or something different, moving away.
Well, I mean, I think I always have like 10,000 things in the fryer or in the oven or whatever, like
Yeah.
pans in the oven. And we do a little podcasty type thing with Wreck Bike Rebuild, but that's like inside of the Patreon stuff. So it's, paywalled and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how like religiously you watch the channel or whatever, but a couple years ago I tried doing a series called Any Ridden Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
where I followed a sport bike stunt bike rider, and my whole thought process was to kind of like not to do popular motovlogger people. I wanted to show like motorcyclists in
Mm-hmm.
general because you go ride and you're at the top of the hill or mountain or whatever you go ride in, and you just have conversations with other people that are riding. And I would just notice that everybody I talked to had this like ridiculous story that I was
Yep.
like, that's amazing. How are you even here on this planet right now?
Yeah.
So my thought process was like, this will be cool. I'll make these like little mini documentaries and tell people stories. And so I picked a stunt rider for the first one, and it was a shit show for a month, dude. Because like he's a stunt guy, right?
So the production or just like
Everything.
everything?
Well, like so everything was like it was my biggest like I'm gonna take because I like the camera side of
Oh yeah.
everything. So I was like, I'm gonna be super serious. I'm gonna make a documentary. I'll eventually put something on Netflix. This is gonna be great. Cut to a month and a half later of trying to sync up schedules, and like you only end up filming like 4 days.
Yeah.
But like to get those 4 days scheduled and done was just the biggest shit show I have ever tried to do. So I put basically 2 months of work into one video, and it performs like super meh.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm passionate about it, I'm like, I also have to run a business, and my mortgage is not going to get
Yeah.
paid by my heart was in this
Yeah,
type thing.
that sucks because like I can tell you put a lot of time and effort in your videos, and then I just recently did something kind of like that. Not like 2 months of footage, but I tried something different. I put all these different things together, and it's meh. And I'm like, oh man, it's like that. It feels like that could have been something huge.
Right.
But man,
Right.
like you put a lot of effort. I see your editing. You have like I'm assuming After Effects, unless you use Apple, which is what I think Motion, something like that. But
Yeah.
I see all your stuff. How much effort you put in. I'm like, man, I wish I had that time. So I can't imagine
Right.
2 months worth of
No,
stuff.
it's a lot. We are on Apple over here, so
Okay.
it's Motion, but the cheat to it is you get templates and then know the program enough to customize the template to where it's unique to you.
Yeah.
So we're not making stuff, from the get go. But I know enough to where if I look at a template for something like a text effect, I'm like, okay, I can probably like take that apart, change this, change that. That's kind of what we try to do as far as any graphic stuff, because like I don't have any graphics guys on the payroll or anything like that. It's literally just guys that edit is most of the help I have.
Okay. And with the 2 months of filming and stuff, you haven't done that
God.
again. You haven't tried it
Well,
again.
so I got burnt hard. so
I know
so
that
I
feeling.
haven't gone back, but I always had it in the back of my head of like I'm gonna freaking do this, and I need to get to the point where, because when I did it, the main revenue stream for the channel was like YouTube stuff. So if a video didn't perform well, I couldn't really justify doing it again.
Yeah.
And then you have that thing of like, this thing I'm real passionate about, this thing I'm also passionate about, but it'll actually pay the bills type thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So there's that trade-off. I will say in 2020, I'm going to try to relook at how to do it with a 1 week turnaround. And I do realize that the stunt rider part of it is what really overcomplicated it.
Okay.
I'm very aware that I could probably, if it was a regular guy, it was like, hey man, we can shoot this on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we could shoot in 2 days, edit in 3, and like call it a day.
Yeah.
So the thought process though with that is to have a kind of a mini documentary, you know, looking at 8-minute long situation. Cause that was one thing. The video was like 16 minutes long. He had a crazy story. So like, I'm fine with it, but I think the videos need to be about 8 to 12 minutes long, and I would like to have a sit-down conversation with the person to go along with the video. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like the idea of, if I was going to do like a podcasty thing, I would just want average writers to, you know, just sit down and shoot shit and talk about anything writers talk about. You know, it could be current motorcycle just come out, or it could be some cool story about they got to ride in the Himalayan mountains or some shit. It wouldn't matter to me. I just think the conversations are cool, so I'm gonna try for that in 2020. Whether that happens or not, I haven't made that an official goal, but you know, I've got it in the back of my head. I'm like, I'm gonna try this shit. I'm gonna try it at least twice, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can learn from the first mistake and you know, get it going a little bit, even if it doesn't do great. We're in a really awesome spot right now with how the channel runs, to where everything doesn't have to be like, I hope this gets X amount of views. You know, I hope ads don't get turned off for this video and stuff.
Yeah, I'm in that moment, that little quagmire of, man, it'd be great if this video did really well. It doesn't have to, but it would really push me past where I can actually focus on stuff like this. So like this podcast, I mean, it's relatively small. It's not paying any bills whatsoever, but it's something I want to really push out, because when you had conversations with people like on the top of the hill after the ride, it's so interesting to hear. And then you're wondering, wow, what are these stories? You know, I'm surprised you're even here, and you learned how to ride that way. What the heck? And that's our viewers, that's the subscribers, that's people watching YouTube, is they have those stories, and I want to bring them in too. So I'm trying to bring smaller subscribers, not subscribers, but YouTubers, and then I picked somebody that was a mechanic that has no channel. So I'm just trying to find something for people to hear. Yeah. And then on top of that, man,
the different perspectives are awesome.
Oh yeah,
like because if you like, just, you know, I have a mechanic that works with me, so having a conversation with him, and then having a conversation with somebody that's more like me, like I'm not mechanically inclined.
Oh, yeah,
I have never said I'm mechanically inclined. I am far better at riding a motorcycle than I will ever be working on it. But the difference in a conversation with him versus somebody more like me, it's a totally different conversation. Mm-hmm. And I've just found that the majority of the conversations with motorcycle riders are far more interesting than you would probably think they were.
Yeah, I'm learning that. I actually shied away from like bike nights and meetups, because I'm like, man, it's just more of me. And then I actually went out for a couple times. I'm like, whoa, okay, this is interesting. I'm love to mingle with all these people, because motorcycles is the icebreaker basically, and then you just kind of go into the actual person. So
yeah, I think really there's a core link for everybody that rides. You know, there's tons of different people that ride, but there's like this very small little atom inside of every person that rides that's like, you're connected on that level, and then everything else is just like fair game. Yeah. It's totally different. You know what I mean? I think that's what makes it interesting.
And then you'll mesh with them or you don't. You know, after that, it's just based off the personality that you like and whatnot. But yeah.